This is the video lesson for definition of work. The learning target for this lesson is, I'm learning to define work by identifying its formula and the necessary conditions for it to be done. The success criteria for this lesson are, I can define work, I can identify the formula for work, and I can recognize the necessary conditions for work to be applied to an object. So what is work? So we're talking here about the physics term, not the usual meaning of the word. So when a force acts upon an object to cause a displacement, that's what we mean by the term work. So again, we're talking about a force causing a displacement. So if any of these conditions are missing, we don't have work being done. So we have to have a force causing a displacement. If there's a displacement that's happening that's not being caused by the force that's happening at that moment, then work is not being done. So the formula for work is W equals F times D. So W stands for work, F stands for force, and D stands for displacement. So we're talking about displacement here as opposed to distance. So displacement, again, remember, is a vector, and it means from this point to this point, only considering where you start and where you finish. We don't care about where you go in between. So if you are exerting a force on an object and you are moving that object from here to here and then back again to here, that doesn't count for work. All we want to know is where you start and where you finish. And work is a scalar quantity, just like energy is a scalar. So let's look at the question, is this work? So work is only done in particular circumstances. So a force must be applied in the same or opposite direction as the displacement for work to be done. Work can't be done, you can't apply a force at a 90-degree angle to the direction that the object is moving for work to be done. Work has to be done either in the same direction or in the opposite direction that the object is moving for there to be work. So if you're doing work in the same direction, you're doing positive work. If you are applying a force in the opposite direction that the object is moving, you're doing negative work. So if an object is moving in this direction and you're applying force in that direction, then you are doing positive work. If the object is moving in the opposite direction and you're applying work in the opposite direction, you're slowing that object down, you would be doing negative work. So let's look at a couple of special cases. So Mr. Voss pushes against the wall of his classroom as hard as he can until he collapses on the floor in exhaustion. Did Mr. Voss do any work? So the answer to this question is no. I did not do any work in this circumstance because I did not move the wall while I was doing all of this force. While I was exerting all of this force on the wall didn't move. So if there's no displacement, no matter how much force I exerted on the wall, no work was being done. So that's special case number one. Let's look at special case number two. So in special case number two, a waitress in a busy restaurant carries a heavy tray full of dishes, glasses, and flatware above her head across the restaurant from the kitchen to a table in a far corner. Did the waitress do any work on the tray? Okay, so in this case, we have to think about what direction the force is being applied and what direction the displacement is happening in. So in this case, the waitress is carrying the tray above her head. So the force that she's exerting on the tray is in the upward direction. So she's exerting a force in the upward direction. The tray has gravity pulling on it downward. So she's exerting an upward force, tray exerting a downward force due to gravity. She is moving, she's displacing the tray in a horizontal direction. So we have upward force, horizontal motion. So there is no work being done by the waitress on this tray as she moves across the restaurant. She does work when she lifts the tray up. So when she picks the tray up off a table and lifts it up, and carries it. So when she lifts it up to carry it across the room, she does work on it, but only in the lifting. So when she lifts the tray up, work is being done. When she carries the tray across the room, no work is being done. And then when she sets the tray back down, she's doing negative work. So she's displacing the tray downward, so she's doing negative work. So work is funny like that. All right, everybody, go out there and keep asking questions. It's how you learn new things.